Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thanks for hanging out for just a little bit. You're back to the High School Star League League of Legends stream, brought to you by Twitch, Newegg, Tespa, Loot Crate, Rockets, MSI, and Jinx Apparel. Players actually did pick ban within the pre-champ select lobby, so they're just gonna blow right through this. I'm Joshua Piscatorli here alongside Bill Jump Carter. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Just to give everybody a little bit more insight on this, we wanted the players in LCS order to make things nice and pretty for all of you that are watching at home. So with that, we have decided to do the pick ban in the champ select, in the team select. And so what that's going to do is rocking this back and forth. That way they can still have the competitive advantage and the strategy of the pick ban without having to worry about champions. So they're just going to blow through this real quick. And with this, I want to go into what they decided to do for the bans. We have all of the same bans of what they did in the pre-champ select, and looking at what we have coming out of Westview, which will be on the red side going up against Serrano, they have some very targeted bans coming out for their pick ban phase.
Right, we thought they were trolling at first when they said Poppy and Shaco, but it turns out they were actually serious. They actually want to get rid of the Poppy and the Shaco. So definitely targeted things that we don't ever really see in competitive play. Although I think Unicorns of Loves were the only ones to play both Poppy and Shaco at one point in the past year. That was definitely fun.
It was indeed. Kiki's was one of the few people that can actually pull out, very non-meta champions and make it work. But with that, Ithacan must be a very accomplished Shaco player. Picks and bans are locked in. They're going to go ahead and do their swaps around. So, Piscator, what's your first thoughts on these comps as we look into this? We're going to talk a little bit into the delay for you guys to help give you guys a little bit more insight, but what's your thoughts on this as we go into this game?
My first thoughts, I'm just trying to absorb everything. Usually we have a few seconds till I kind of go back and forth with the ping pong, but now we're seeing everybody come in at the same time. Is this a Scion support? This is a Scion support. That's the first thing that we're going to talk about. Because I was trying to figure out, all right, did they not swap? The whole reason we did pick ban and team select was so, they can get their roles. But that's a Malphite mid Scion support.
And the best part is the summoner spells for this. You've got the Echo going with an Ignite. You have the Malphite going with the heal and a Scion support. So Serrano already is just wowing me with this team composition. The comp works. Like, if you get this out of the lane phase, you get this into the late game kind of thing, it works very well. But getting there when you have what strong lanes you have across the board is a very interesting thing.
Right, and the thing I'm worried about is in terms of Serrano's picks, their damage. They have high damage in the form of the Echo, and Rengar, can just one-shot people, but a lot of it's just focused on one person. And when you have such a beefy frontline, like when you get a Meganar, and especially a Cinder Hulk Tom Kench in front of you, and Lucian and the Yasuo just dashing everywhere, getting AoE damage off. Serrano's going to have to pick their targets very carefully and really focus down who they want to kill first. Because it's not like Rengar's known for his excellent team fighting prowess. Rengar's known for going in, getting that pick, blowing up the squishy, getting out. Echo's known for kind of stalling around the outside of the fight, maybe engaging with a really strong parallel convergence, but a lot of times he's on cleanup duty as well. But we'll see if this AP Malphite, which I'm assuming is going to be very heavy on the AP stats. We'll see how that happens.
We did have a little bit of a summoner swap right there. The mid laner Mustard ended up going with the teleport. And I want to see maybe if we had a little bit of a mix-up, the top laner might have ended up in the wrong spot. But we'll see that as we get into the game. But no, you're right. There's a lot of team fight coming out of both these teams, but I'm going to have to give the lane advantage over to Westview, because if you look at the way that their team composition works, they have enough lockdown and stuff to help Tom Kench. He's not the best ganker. Yeah, he's got the tongue lash to help slow them down a little bit, but it's much better if you CC them first and get him closer within melee range so he can come in and go for that devour. So already very strong times, very strong possibilities on both sides. We might have a barn burner on our hands.
All right. So the first game between Serrano High School and Westview High School, the best of two series, is going to kick off with these very interesting team cons. Both teams starting off tonight with a 2-0 record, just like the previous game between San Marino and Temple City High School. We'll see which team gets to go home with that undefeated record, or if one of them happens to give up a series, or they could just go 1-1. It is a best of two tournament format, so if they go 1-1, they split 1 point apiece to cash in later on in the season when they go to their playoffs. But ladies and gentlemen, before we go, a quick shout out to all of our sponsors at Twitch, Tespa, Loot Crate, Newegg, MSI, Rockat, and Jinx Apparel. If you want to find out more about the High School Star League, be sure to check out our website at hsstarleague.com, in addition to all of our social media outlets. We'll be right back with Game 1 between Serrano High School and Westview.
Those nights when we were younger and we would never sleep. So let's forget about tomorrow and live for tonight while we're free. Touch the sky. Tonight we're coming alive.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our final series for tonight. Serrano High School versus Westview High in the Best of 2 series. Serrano on the blue side, Cy the Shadow in the top lane. LP Jeff the Retard in jungle. Mustard in mid. Abysmal Shoe on ADC. And Beetle 65 on support.
And for the side of Westview High School, we've got Super Kid 5 in the top lane, Ithacan in the jungle, Young Helios in the mid lane, Zeshu in the AD carry position, and the Stimulus at support. Excuse me. So we've got a little bit of a pause right off the bat. We got a DC in the mid lane, Young Helios not into the game right now. So we're going to take a little bit of time to just hang out, relax, figure out what we're going to do with everybody. But again, I want to bring ourselves to looking at the Serrano team comp that we have right now. Yes, we've got a Tom Kench jungle. Unbench the Kench has happened. You can make all the memes go crazy from there. But it's the composition that we see coming out of Serrano High School. Echo, Rengar, Malphite, Sivir, Sion. Very good team fighting composition, has lots of damage, has lots of abilities, but where they are in the lanes is what I want to look out for. Sion's support isn't necessarily the greatest support that you can pull from things, especially considering that there's really no way for them to get into the fights because Lucian has his dash, which can avoid all of the CC that Sion has, as well as a Janna, who, as we know, is the queen of protecting her AD carry. So with that being said, I'm not too sure how this lane phase is going to go. On the upside, however, the Malphite mid, which we don't see very often, is the perfect position to go against Helios, right, or young Helios here in the mid lane. Why? Because Malphite is the perfect anti-AD carry, or AD assassin, AD whatever. So interesting stuff, interesting areas, but we're going to have to just see how it plays out as we are finally back on the Rift.
And it looks like just as we were talking about Malphite mid, they did get the order of the players swapped up before the lobby actually gets started up. So that's going to be a Malphite top. It would have been really nice. Still, armor works really well against the Gnar, except for the mana damage coming out from the hyper stacks. But once this mid game hits, I mean, the point of their team fighting being really strong is something that holds up into the mid game. Sion in lane as a support, really mana hungry and doesn't really do much unless like the ADC and support get close to you. But considering it's a Lucian Janna, yeah, they're gonna get somewhat close to you, but Janna's gonna be pretty far back a lot of the times, especially if they're starting coin and not going spell thief, not gonna get a lot of auto attacks off. Lucian has a really short range as well, so you can poke with the shout and the Q if you can manage to get the knock up. But at the same time, it's they're really playing for level 6 here.
They are indeed. And another thing that we have to touch upon is, even though, yeah, we've talked about a little bit of everything coming out of the side of Serrano, but Westview, if you want to talk about something that they kind of have going against them, is going to be their composition as far as, you know, magic versus physical damage. They have an all AD team. Yes, there is some AD damage coming from Ithacan, but it's not going to be enough to warrant building any kind of magic resist. So when you have these champions like a Malphite, like a Sion, who can just stack resistances and stay relevant all the same, being able to stack armor is definitely something that both of these champions are going to want to do, and they're going to have a perfectly easy time doing that.
Right. And even though Tahm Kench, a lot of people are saying how much damage he tends to do in the late game, considering it's all single target, you're not going to be really eating minions in the middle of a team fight and getting AoE splash. It's hard to do. But I remember, like, when we were playing together the other day, he said, hey, play Tahm Kench jungle. I tried it out. When you get enough bonus health, those tongue lashes and even your auto attacks hurt for, I think I said I was doing something like 600 on hit.
It is a lot of damage.
Ridiculous.
And especially once you hit your level 6 spike, because you get the extra damage from the stuff. But talking about a level 6 spike, no level 6 spike is needed, as first blood is going to go to young Helios in the mid lane right there. A little bit of an outplay. He can slice and dice and dash around just like everybody else, but it's going to be Scythe of Shadow that's going to be slicing into death. King Reaper going to take the kill, going to have him in the death.
And that's going to be so tricky for Serrano to deal with. Here we see Rengar coming in. No ult available, still level 2. Not a whole lot you're going to go do against the Yasuo there, buddy. But especially since young Helios on that Yasuo going to have a tougher matchup against the Echo, especially early on. Echo tends to do well against people who can't really match the damage and the dive potential up front. Getting a Yasuo snowballed is something terrifying. Doesn't matter if you're playing solo queue, you're playing ARAM, you're playing in tournaments like this. Young Helios can transfer that to the mid game, get some ganks off. Coming from mid. It's going to be absolutely painful for Serrano to deal with.
It is indeed, and we're taking a lot of look at this bot lane right now. This Lucian is just very successful, especially when he has this Janna on him, because Lucian, as we know, is an AD caster, or is an AD casting AD carry. So he relies a lot on having that extra AD, having the ability to, you know, throw some extra oomph behind his spells. Well, when you have a Janna shield to be able to do things, it makes it a whole lot easier. Tahm Kench, though, roaming himself around, wanting some blood right here, getting some early advantage, getting some early vision, and that's exactly what he's going to need, because he does not have the gank pressure and the power of the CC lockdown that you see coming out of the empowered Bola from Jeff. And that's what he's going to have to do to try to combat this. Secure some vision, help out his team a little bit.
It's scary, though. If your laner has any form of CC, Tahm Kench is actually not that bad in terms of gank follow-up. Initiation is one thing. What are you going to do? Like, hit him with your tongue from 40 Teemos away. But if you can get close enough, get that one slow, it's pretty much a free devour. A lot of Tahm Kenches like running attack speed in both jungle and top lane to get those stacks off as fast as possible. It's going to be so fun to watch Ithacan just jump in and eat people to death, coming in for the gank. Bull gets eaten by the wind wall, but he throws another one. Not in power this time, but Helio's just going to make it away safe and sound anyway. Actually might manage to turn it around. Oh, Kitty Chow right here for the Yasuo. I think I'm going to come in. Oh, tries to devour him just in time, but it looks like he's just going to come in. Slap, slap, slap away. I have an echo in my belly. That is something I've never seen before.
Oh, yep, it still does it. Why?
What?
Because Echo is still technically in the parallel convergence. He's able to secure that, get out safely, and that's going to be a 1-for-1. I'm not too sure what Jeff was thinking there. He didn't have the empowered Bola Strike available to locate the stun, so he just goes out, throws a Bola, gets a slow. It's going to be enough to pick up a kill, but a 1-for-1 in favor of, I would say, Young Helios, because that is about as good as you can get when somebody's coming in and ganking you.
In Young Helios, Jeff came in with 5 stacks. Actually did have the Empower Bola, but Helios windwalled it just in time. That's why Jeff kind of threw the second one kind of haphazardly. One got eaten, and then Helios got slowed down by the second one. But like you said, still managed to get the kill.
Manages to get the kill, manages to get a little bit more ahead. He's going to have the zeal. He's going to be pushing. And right now, Echo is just really struggling. He doesn't have enough gold to go back and get the Sheen. So he's just sitting on the pieces. And pretty much, it really doesn't do that much for you. Yeah, you get a little bit more oomph behind your spells with the Amplifying Tome. But it's just not enough to really warrant too much help right there. Bot lane right here, we've got Jeshu and Stimulus doing a really good job, but they're actually down in CS, which, you know, is something you wouldn't expect. You've got the warning pings coming out. It looks like we see the all-in coming in, though.
Yeah, the TP is going to come in. Not sure if it's going to be enough to save the ADC, though. Ticking away the Uniteds. And Helios, that's the 3rd kill that Westview High School picks up in this game so far. Mustard level 6, however. Ultimate is available. Not sure exactly if they want to engage or not, but Helios goes in, trying to get snowballing even further, challenging Smite. Regular Smite comes in to lock him down. Again, that's exactly why Devour can be that as such a troll ability. The Super Kid, however, coming in, has half a Gnar bar available, but not quite the chase down that they need. One more stack, one more Tongue Lash should get the stun. Just trying to get a clear shot at him. Just one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. Mom Spaghetti all over the place. Westview goes up 5-2.
Helios is just all over the place right now. Level 6, as soon as he gets that, he's in bot lane, he's hanging out, but look at that. Super Kid goes on a super slam, Gnar against the wall. That's going to be another death, and Gnar, my god, that was beautiful.
If at first you don't succeed, dive him under your tower.
Got to get kills somehow, got to do something, evening out himself with 1 kill in the top lane, and that's exactly what Gnar wants. Look at this. He's going for a Brutalizer, so we might see the AD Gnar coming out from the Super Kid right here. And, you know, I'm not too sure how much it's going to work out, but as good as everybody else is doing, that's going to be something that might actually be proved beneficial.
And this is a hilariously early static shift coming out from Young Helios. Coming back to lane at just under 8 minutes, getting a static shift, and just beating the punishment out of this Echo this early on. 4-1-1. That's a kill every 2 minutes.
8 minutes in the game. That's an unbelievable spot that you want to be in, and especially considering the fact that Echo actually wins this matchup pretty decently once he's able to get off a little bit of extra damage. He's so far behind right now that there's really nothing he can do. And when you have the multiple knockups to help yourself out, this isn't something that he's going to have to carry himself. He's going to have the opportunity to do something, but he might get thrown on right here.
Yeah, Jeff goes in on Helios, but Helios is so strong. Pops the Thrill of the Hunt just to try and get away, but it doesn't even matter. When I knock you up, I'm going to finish you off. Fight continues onto side of the Shadow, though. This guy, miserable.
The top lane, however.
Yeah, top lane Mustard and Super Kid slapped away at each other.
3.
The boulder toss, Gnar was available, but didn't want to. Actually, it just came off cooldown. Barely missed it. That's available right there. Hops right in for the crunch. Oh, though! That's a trade back and forth. You take me down, I take you down. No top laners available to interrupt this dragon attempt right here. Westview should have this pretty cleanly.
There's really no possible way that anyone from Serrano can contest right here. Young Helios is so fed. You've got the knockup from Stimulus available to help out with that ultimate. And it's just, we're seeing already a really quick, a really hard snowball. Yeah, you had an even trade in the mid lane, but this Yasuo, late game power there. So the quicker you can get there, the better things are. And that's exactly what they're doing. 5-1-0. He is already on a tear at almost 10 minutes into the game.
All right, like we talked about, Yasuo does that AoE, kind of skirts in and out of the fight. And it's just so annoying to deal with if you don't have reliable CC. And while Serrano do not have any shortage of CC on their team, a lot of it's very conditional and pretty tricky to hit. I mean, I don't know about you, but trying to hit a Yasuo who's dashing in and out of minions with the Rengar bola or trying to land a parallel convergence on the guy, I mean, you're pretty much only relying on a Malphite ult for some surefire lockdown and a very well-timed Scion Q, so Serrano definitely have their work cut out for them.
Work cut out indeed. Yasuo slipping, sliding around, running away just like the rest of your girlfriends in high school.
Hey.
They're just not wanting, not necessarily yours, but okay, probably yours.
Yeah, well,
He's going to go back. He's going to get the Berserker Screw. He's going to have a lot more attack speed to be able to do things. This is an interesting build I want to see. They don't do this very often. The Bola Strike, meanwhile, might have to do that. Ooh, the Flash
gets
Chomp.
punched right in. That does a whole lot of damage. If you haven't seen Tom Kench before, you're seeing the frog right now. Actually a catfish, but it sounds so much better when you say frog. Super Kid, however, no cooldowns available, but the rest of them just going to close in on the shop. Young Helios, blood in his eyes, wants the rock. Come here, he says. 6 kills this early on with the Berserker's Greaves on top of that inside the shadow, as if he wasn't dying enough in mid lane. He's like, you know what, let me come over here and experience the death. 11 kills to 3 in favor of Westview right now, and Serrano just desperately looking for answers.
They're looking for answers, but they're just not going to get it right now. You've got the towers banging down in the bot lane. The only lane that's actually finding any kind of success is going to be the bot, as Abysmal Shu had a CS advantage on Seshu for a long time, but now it's just getting evened out. It's not going the direction that they want to go, and they need to reconvene. They need to kind of sit back and figure out, all right, look, we've got a bad situation. We got a Yasuo that's a little bit fade. We need to step back for a second and reconvene and just change our mentality, because if this continues any longer, the tilt's going to happen. They're going to be off their edge, and going into game 2, that's not what you want.
Right, just a reminder that both of these teams are undefeated in 2015 High School Star League League of Legends season thus far. In the bot lane, we see Westview High School trying to get even more snowballs going off. The Young Helios actually took the frog ride in. The Devour going to come down. That should be a dead Scion very shortly, but the passive is available. Probably quite low enough to take advantage of that, as it looks like Ithacan just going to dive on under there. The thick skin hasn't even been popped yet, so he's going to be nice and healthy, healing up a third of that damage done. Abysmal Shu, the last breath was still available. This guy does so much damage, he doesn't even have to pop his ultimate to pop even more kills. Mustriel comes back, ultimate is available. What are you going to do against a team that has 4 of its members up, 2 of them nigh unkillable?
And Echo even chased to try to help something out, but I don't even think he could kill him at that sense. There's just too much damage, too much power coming from Young Helios right here. This Yasuo is just doing work. I mean, look at that.
No,
he throws
behind
one tornado behind him and chunks down a quarter of Scythe Shadow's health. It's abysmal. I don't want to try to pun with the AD carry, but it's abysmal. It's just, there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can try. That's almost two levels, and look at this. Just unbelievable.
1v1 Helios actually might be on the bad end of it if he elects to commit. No Ignite available on either, but Ithacan coming in for even more kills. Oh, unbench the Kench, give me something! Scion actually going to make a rotation topside, as Sivir going to take the 1v1.
An interesting thing that I want to point out, though, is, and this is something that we're going to see a lot. Oh, we might have to pause. Abysmal just got despair.
I mean, that was just a pretty much clear and cut issue of not positioning yourself properly within the lane. Stimulus was able to get the easiest pinch in of all time. And especially in the situation where, like you said, Abysmal Shu was only the really one doing somewhat okay on behalf of Serrano High School. Giving that up just swung it very convincingly in favor of Zeshu and Stimulus on behalf of Westview.
He's got the 14-minute Infinity Edge, and so there's really nothing that Abysmal Shu can do to combat this at this point. Yes, you've got the Scion to try to help you out, but the difficulty with Scion support is you don't have any self-peel. You've got a lot of engage, you've got a lot of frontline tanking, but there's really nothing to protect this Sivir as she goes around. And so unless she's in a full-blown 5v5 team fight with that On the Hunt activated, there's really no other way for herself oh geez, I can't speak today. There's no other way for her to position herself in a safe spot. And so having the difficult negative spot she's in right now is just not looking good for her at already 15 minutes into the game.
We see a lot of these Wombo comps, however, with one team fight, one good team fight, they can swing it right back around. Cyber Shadow actually lands a really good parallel convergence, and that's exactly what they need to be doing. Hey, just 9 more of those, 11 more of those rather. Math is hard. They're tied right back up in the game, but right now, oh my goodness,
here comes
here
the
we
Kench.
go, the Abyssal Voyage, pop him right up. I'm not sure if they have the damage though. These guys are pretty tanky. They're just gonna jump right in. Jeff just jumped right in. I don't know what he was trying to do, if that was a misclick or what, but I don't think that's gonna happen against the team this fed.
Nope, and that's going to be a perfect timing, perfect gank right there by both Ithacan and Helios to come in. Secures yet another kill for the Yasuo. Now they're going to get the Dragon. This is a snowball in the works. 7k gold at 15 and a half minutes, 15 minutes, 45 seconds. Unbelievably good job by Westview, pushing themselves ahead, propelling themselves forward. And I might remind you, both of these teams are 2-0 currently. So they are the exact same. As we say, this is the Swiss style tournament, so they can get themselves, they play a bunch of the same teams depending on what kind of scores they get. And so both of these teams have proven themselves in the earlier stages of the weeks, but Westview just showing themselves in a class of their own at this point.
I think it'll be really interesting in the weeks to come to see exactly how these teams start to stack up against each other. Because in the previous matchup between Temple City and San Marino, we were making comments about how Temple City has they're all on a Challenger ranked 5 team together, one of their players being 500 LP Challenger in solo queue himself. So early on in the season, we see these kind of disparities, but as the time goes on, like you said, the Swiss format is eventually going to balance things out. So if you're a team that doesn't have the big powerhouses, kind of like how Temple City does, going to have a chance to face off against some fair opponents later. Beside the Shadow right now, it's not a fair opponent unless you get a gank assistance, but it doesn't look like that even matters. Tom Kench going to come in, unbench the Kenchi, says Young Helios trying to win away under tower. No minion to shout at him. Ithacan, no Devour just yet. Give it to me. I'm so hungry, he says. Ithacan does have the stacks. That lasts so long, and the Devour actually comes off of cooldown. The smite for the style points as they take down yet another kill.
That in the bot lane, though, Zeshu's going to be able to try to call, going to hit the crit to finish things off, and that's going to be a tower. Just every little move that Serrano is trying to make to combat this enormous lead that Westview have is just getting quelled and put to rest faster than they can even start these engagements. This is a showing for the ages right here by Westview High School, doing work week 3 against Serrano High School.
So Jeff just came in without 5 stacks, just relying on the ultimate to try and channel that. Super Kid gonna get jumped down, however. No combo available. Super Kid taking almost no damage from that, as it looks like this Rengar doing more feeding than eating this game. 7 deaths so far. Really wondering how Serrano's gonna approach this pick ban phase in the next game.
They're trying their best, though. They're not necessarily giving up, but at this point in time, there's just so much power. Look at this. This is the power of Tom Kench that we're used to seeing. He's going to end up sacrificing his life for the betterment of his team. Shutdown, that's exactly where you want shutdown gold if you're going to end up getting it.
And this is a full-blown, full-tank Tom Kench doing this much damage. 11 kill participation out of the 20. 55%, not bad at all, considering how much pressure that this Yasuo is putting on. Even getting to a fight before Yasuo cleans it up is an accomplishment within itself. The later this game goes, this Tom Kench is going to be more and more ridiculous. They're going to be writing support tickets to write in the middle of the game saying, hey, this guy, I can't kill him, something's wrong.
And the biggest issue is that they don't really have any damage to just burst him down. Yes, you got a lot of damage from Echo, but Echo is building kind of like a bruiser Echo that you see. He actually went and rushed the Frozen Fists, so he's going to have a little bit more tanky stats. He's going to have a little bit more dueling potential, kind of stick-to-you situation. But at this point in time, he's so far behind Young Helios that there's really not much he can do. Young Helios has almost enough gold. He's about 300 gold short of getting that Trinity Force. So once he gets that cranked out, that's going to be an immense power spike for an already fed Yasuo in the mid lane.
I just sat here for like 20 seconds trying to do the math on the goal lead before finally coming take out. Oh man, math is definitely not my thing. But oh, it looks like Jeff finally gets a kill here. Not sure how much that's going to help, especially with the rather staggered build that he's going.
Tower going to go down right there. They're going to have to try to get out. Ooh, here's a culling.
Calling Beetle. Support items on the Scion, not a whole lot you can do. Chana actually goes in for the flash, Howling Gale. A little bit of overkill there, but it looks like Zeshu actually going to turn this around, try and take out the Abysmal Shoe.
Crits.
Wow, the crits coming out from the Zeal and the IE. Too much for me, says this Sivir. And Jeff, while he did pick up a kill, Tom Kench going to have a nice feast. An acquired taste for cat that this catfish has acquired.
No, I'm not even going to go there. Well, I was going to try. No parallels to be made here. Super Kid pushing up in this top lane.
That catfish cat.
Oh, but we hear the thundering blow, the thundering stampede, the running. The Beetle is not going to survive. He's just going to come and hang out with his big rock friend. So someday, geez, not someday. So Super Kid, I'm quoting the wrong player here. So Super Kid is going to pull his best someday cosplay to try to get things done, and Mustard forced the ultimate out of there. I don't think it's going to be enough though.
Yeah, all these staggered ultimates, we talked about how Serrano might be able to come back if they're chain all these things, but as we see right here, I mean, play-by-play casting this is pretty much saying Westview has a ton of gold, they have a ton of stats on them, and they could just run in willy-nilly and just defeat all of them at once. I mean, look at that, walk straight under tower. It's been taking shots for so long. That's a triple kill going to a full tank Tom Kench. This dude does so much damage. This Abysmal Shoe runs right forward. But even the crits coming out aren't enough to take this River Demon down. 6-28 in favor of Westview High School right now, translating to 14,000 in gold. My goodness.
That was a 4v5 too. Look at what Zeshu's been doing in the bot lane. That's an entirely another tower for him. He's sitting in 4-1-7. He's ahead of every member on the team in gold. He is just dominating, and he's not even in these fights right now. He might end up going to die. He's going to try to throw the culling to have to do something. It's actually going to be enough. You don't have an ultimate available yet from Beetle. He might be able to successfully get away from this.
Right, all those staggered uses of the ultimate that didn't really get anything. But Side of Shadow might just get turned on here. You only have a Frozen Fist and a large rod. That's not going to be enough. Deishu turns it right around, gets free buffs on the way in. Oh, actually, those were his. Just expired there. Going to get locked down by the Bull Up. But can he take down one more? Nope. Took 4 of them, rather. Echo actually went down in the attempt, but it took 4 people to kill that 5-2-7 Lucian.
My goodness, my goodness. Oh,
Yasuo
gentlemen.
Yasuo and Lucian are almost twinsies in terms of their items. Look how they're lining up.
They are indeed. The only difference... this is unbelievable right now. And if you're Serrano, you kind of have to do a little bit of a self-check right here. You're not completely ruling out this game yet. Yes, you're down about 15k gold, but there's a slight chance that you can come back. Slight, very slim, almost near impossible, but the throws are real. We've all seen it happen. It happens before. They're staying in this game, but when it comes to a point, you have to consider, all right, when do we decide enough is enough, and when do we start looking towards the next game? Because this is a best-of-2 series. Even though you had a rough showing here, there is still a chance of doing something successful in the next game and evening out the points at 1-1, and that's definitely something that you have to think about as you look into this.
I don't know if this is the right way. Helios does so much damage. Gonna have to chrono break out of there. Their synergy has been not quite optimal. We're talking so much about this Wombo combo, but we see Super Kick diving right in and Zeshu with a quick follow-up. Westview is a school that we've seen do very well in the past broadcasts of HSL. Here they are, putting on an absolute clinic, showing exactly how to take down these teams. That's a triple kill going into the pocket of Zeshu as young Helios just going to dive straight in there. Get the tower down. Oh, could we see the delayed Penta going to turn around for the Malphite? Oh, quadra kill. Oh, not too quick enough. Young Helios actually going to get that, but this should be inhibitor. Big wave stack in topside too, so there's so much to take on this map for Westview High School.
It is indeed. They're going to secure the first inhibitor of the game at 24 minutes. We are just seeing teams blast through and take these early inhibitors. It's just, showing a lot of what Worlds is bringing to you. We're seeing a lot of this kind of really fast pushing style a lot in Worlds these days. And that being said, a lot of these younger teams, both in the amateur and challenger scene, are all just, that's what they're doing. They're trying to employ the strategy, and it's really playing out to a success right here from Westview.
And Jeff actually still no smite item finish yet. Trying to go for that staggered instead of black cleaver. Looks like Side of the Shadow actually manages to pick up a very, very desperately needed kill. Just isn't chasing out. Not sure if someone can get away here. Gonna get eaten right up by Tom Kench. Yeah,
Nom, nom, nom.
moves.
That dead man's plate.
Right.
Dead man's plate and an ally in your belly helps yourself out a little bit, but it might not be enough as he has the thick skin. It might be available, but oh, he's just going to eat and pop the thick skin. Wow.
Oh,
and he gets out alive.
Get a red buff. Red buff's not ticking fast enough as Beetle goes in deep. Gilly's going to knock up 3. He's just going to go on the last breath to one of them. It's exhausted there. Oh, there's the wombo that they needed. If they can get like 17 more of those, they might be in good shape here. The rest of them, they're super minions in their base. They're just going to chug away. I'm not sure if Westview really has to follow up to finish them off right now. Serrano managed to pick up a tower during that duration. But looking at the base of Serrano, be a little bit to deal with when they get back. Pretty easy cleanup, though.
Pretty easy cleanup. There's still going to be a lot of pressure that you see from everyone on Westview right now. You've got the 3 stack. He doesn't have 5 stacks in his ferocity, so he's not going to be able to do too much. But he is waiting in the bush right there. He's going to wait for him. He's going to be able to get it, but he's going to miss it. The bullet strike's not going to hit.
Not going to hit. It's actually just going to kite in between the minion wave. Goes right into the bush. Gets the jump down. Oh, one more outside. Flashes forward, but doesn't manage to get the kill. A little bit over eager there. Not sure if he wanted to burn that flash right there, especially chasing a Rengar into a bush. Not the best idea.
Not the best idea indeed. Zeshu getting caught out. This is the second time now that he's gotten caught out. Split pushing into the bot lane. He needs to group up with his team. Yes, they're ahead. Yes, they have the ability to, do this 1v1, but there's going to come a point where Rengar gets a couple more items, and I'm sorry, but Zeshu's just not going to be able to handle it. They need to group themselves up. They've got all this pressure. Now they need to start applying it because it's things like these that could allow Serrano to get back into this game.
Talk a lot about throws happening. And again, with the scaling that we have on Westview side, it's going to be a pretty tricky one to throw. But all of them die at the right time later on in the game when those death timers get up to the 60, 70 second mark. It's only a matter of pressing your right click until all the towers and the Nexus is gone. Minute 55 on the Dragon respawn, as this is going to be their potential, Westview's potential 4th. As if they weren't doing enough damage in these fights. This whole tank, Tom Kench, 10, 2, and 11. Just slapping away at the silent. One more stack, actually forced to flash away. Doesn't want to get eaten, but the talisman gets buffed. No, come here. Gets the stun. Oh, no, he hit the teammate instead. But Zeshu gonna come in. Get the piercing light anyway. The Stormlight in, no mid lane inhibitor turret, so it looks like the rest of Westview High School gonna try and charge and do the rest. Side Shadow gets eaten this time. Lock down the chrono break, but it's probably not going to be enough as Helios goes over the wall. Full solo queue Yasuo style. And in the mid lane fight, this is one Malphite that's going to have a bit of a rocky day as the Tornado manages to cut down that mountain. Rock, paper, scissors, Tornado onto the rock. So it looks like this should be game here for Westview. As long as they don't get super greedy, start diving the fountain for kills. I don't see any way Serrano can get back.
Nope, the ultimate's going to get popped right there by Janet. They're going to have a little bit more dueling, but it's just not much they can do as the damage is just going to be way too much for them to handle.
And the insane snowballing, it first started in the mid lane, then it spread like chickenpox to the other lanes. GG's to both teams, but Westview coming out with a dominating W.
W in the column for Westview High School, and again, for the second week in a row, they've already started to a very strong 1-0 victory. And if you're Serrano, you just have to kind of take a step back and just breathe at this point because you just witnessed a heck of a snowball from every lane possible. Janna finished at 1-0 and 22, 23 KDA. Unbelievably good job by the support. And again, you have to take a step back. You have to sit and figure out what went wrong, what happened, and it just comes down to this mid lane. Young Helios did such a good job at Yasuo. Scythe to Shadow just couldn't handle it, and they might have to look into banning out that Yasuo, or even the Tom Kench even, as we go into Game 2.
And so many ban options available, but you can only pick 3 of them. Will Serrano respond by banning out the Kenchman and the Yasuo, or will they try and adjust their own play to bring back the Series 1-1? They don't want to give up their first loss in the season. And when we come back, we'll see exactly whether or not they can fight off Westview to tie the series up 1-1. You are watching High School Star League of Legends, brought to you by Twitch, Newegg, Tespa, Loot Crate, Rockat, MSI, and Jinx Apparel. To find out more about the High School Star League, visit our website at hsstarleague.com. Check out all of our social media outlets on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. I am Joshua Piscator Lee here alongside Bill Jump Carter. We'll be right back in a few minutes.